Hello, today I'm going to go over the home care suction machines. I have for you both the stationary unit and the portable unit. I will go over both individually. So starting with the stationary unit, this unit does not have an internal battery. So in order to operate this device, you always have to have it plugged into power. Now, before you turn the device on, you want to set up your canister and your tubing. So this is the canister that you will receive from PD-Stat. This canister is washable, so whenever it gets full of secretions or it starts to get dirty, all you have to do is pop off this top here, and it comes off. And then just wash this soap and water, dry it out, and then you can use it again. And then you want to make sure you pop this back on completely so that there's no air leak, okay? Now on top, you'll see that you have a port here and one on the side. I'll show you which goes where, but this is where we're gonna have our suction tubing, and this is how we're gonna connect this canister to the machine. So this sits in here, and then you will also be provided a filter. The filter has verbiage here on the front, and it tells you that this side of the filter needs to go to the pump. If you notice, the back side does not have any words on it. So when it says it needs to go to the pump, what it means is this piece needs to connect here on the stationary device. So we're gonna push that into there, and that is your filter. And then this other piece, this little elbow, sits right on top of the canister here. And now we have connected our canister to the suction machine itself. This here is also provided to you. This is your suction tubing. So one end of the tubing is going to go to this opening here on the canister. You just push it on. The other end is going to go to whatever device you choose to suction the patient. I will go over those in just a second. Now to turn on the machine, there's a little button in the back. You just push. I'll turn it around for you. Real quick push button. All right, so initially, before you connect whatever device you're using to suction the patient, you want to use your hand or your thumb. You'll have a glove on, of course, and you want to make sure that you have no leak. So when you put your finger over the end of the suction tubing, you should feel a vacuum. If you don't, that means you might have a leak. A leak meaning maybe this part of the canister is off. If you have a leak, you will have no pressure. So make sure that everything is sealed properly so that you can feel the suction. Now I'm going to turn the device off so that you can hear me during the explanation. Now you were provided a stationary unit for home, for suctioning if the patient doesn't go on a lot of transports. Sometimes you'll be provided the portable as well. It just depends on the situation. Now, the equipment that you use to suction depends on what part of the patient you're suctioning and how old the patient is, depending on if they have an artificial airway. So if they have a tracheostomy, then we're going to use something that's a little more sterile. So we'll start with that one. So you are provided, if the patient has an artificial airway, which is a tracheostomy, you're going to use these sterile catheters. Each of these containers has a sterile catheter inside. So when you open it, you are provided a pair of sterile gloves that you want to put on because, again, this catheter is going to go inside the patient's trachea. So you want to make sure that it's sterile so that you don't invite an infection into the patient's airway. So you would open this package here. You're going to put on your sterile gloves. And once you have these on, make sure that you're only touching the catheter itself to maintain a sterile field for the patient. Again, always make sure you have gloves on whenever you're suctioning the patient. Then you're going to take out, this is your sterile suction catheter. You can wrap the catheter part that's going to go into the patient around your hand so that it's not touching other surfaces. Then you're going to grab the end of your suction tubing, and this part here, this right into the suction tubing. Now the hand that you're going to use to suction the patient is the hand you're going to use to control the catheter. All right, so I'm going to turn the device on just so you'll see how this works. If you were gonna then start to suction the patient in again to their trachea, this is for the artificial airway, you're going to start to push the catheter down into the patient. You're not going to suction when you're going down, only suction when you go out. So once you are in as far as you're going to go, you're gonna put your thumb over the thumb port, and that's how the suction begins, and then you're gonna pull the catheter out. If you are suctioning just the patient's mouth or maybe their nose, we also provide you with different options. So you will have maybe a little sucker, which comes in either a yellow bag or a purple bag, depending on the size. This smaller device here is a little more flexible. You're just gonna plug that in into the suction tubing, and then to activate suction, again, there's a little thumb port here. You just put your thumb over that. The suction will begin here, and you can use this inside the patient's nose or their mouth. The last device you might be provided would be a much larger suction device for the mouth. This is only for the mouth. It's very rigid, and we call that the yank hour. Again, this is for a much older patient, so an older pediatric patient or an adult patient. This is what this is for, but it's only for the mouth, all right? Only oral, not for the nose, and definitely not for your tracheostomy. Now, if you have been provided the stationary unit and the portable unit, they work a little bit differently. So first off, the tubing is different. So I'm gonna show you how to use the portable. So if you had a portable unit, you would have to take this part off. This canister would then move over into the portable unit. I'll move these things out of the way for your view. So the portable unit also has its own filter. Now with this one, the filter is a little bit different. You can see that it says in. So the side of the filter that says in means into the canister itself. So you wanna make sure the side of the filter where it says in is facing towards going into the canister. You're gonna slide this little elbow here down. And then of course you have tubing that takes you to the machine itself. Now with this one, the power button is on the side here. That's how you turn the device on. Now turn it off for recording purposes. So same thing as this one. You want to troubleshoot this device before you utilize it. Once you turn it on, you want to check over the suction tubing with your thumb. Make sure that you feel a vacuum. Make sure you feel pressure. If not, again, check for air leaks. Make sure that the tubing is tight here. Make sure that this is tight here. If you have issues, sometimes maybe it's not a leak, maybe you have moisture in the filter. So you want to make sure that your filter is not wet. If it is, change out the filter and just make sure you put it on properly. Now this device, because it's portable, does have an internal battery. So you always want to make sure you have it plugged into power source to charge, but if you notice on the top here, it's actually showing you with light indicators. The green one here is showing you, yes, we are plugged into external power. This indicator here that's orange is showing you that we are currently charging the device, the internal battery that is. If the battery was starting to run low, then this top option would turn on. So this device, if you've been provided a portable one, always when you're accessible to power, plug it in so that it's always charging. You're also going to be provided an adapter for your vehicle so that if you are in need and you are out transporting the patient, you could plug this into your car to power and charge as well. If you have any issues with the device, you've watched the troubleshooting, you've made sure that you've connected everything and you're still not getting any type of pressure, make sure that you call PD-Stat. We have on-call 24 hours a day. And again, if you feel like maybe that the device itself needs to be switched out, just call the on-call service. If you need supplies for the devices, you want to call during normal business hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Thank you.